Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Be There in 5 podcast. I'm Kate Kennedy, your host. And this is weirdly the last episode of 2024. I feel like 2024 was a year of, it was kind of a long year. No? I mean, time flies when you're having fun. And it's not that I didn't have fun this year, but this was my first full calendar year as a mom. And, you know, the days, what am I supposed to say as a mom? The days are slow, but the years fly by. IDK. I think it all paces pretty fairly. And I would say that I am eager to get to a stage where my lovely young son, not tugboat, Teddy, can express to me a little bit better how he's feeling. I get it. If I were him, I'd be like, lady, pick up on the cues, but I just haven't quite figured them out. Ready for the next phase of what life has to offer. It's hard to explain. Like, I think that being a mom is maybe travel. Well, no, this is the first year I got United Platinum. Not to brag. I might get upgraded once in a calendar year. Really, status doesn't mean anything anymore. It's like I chase it, but then it really does nothing other than get you free checked bags, which, wow, free opportunity for you to not get my shit to destination on time. Like, not impressed. Love you, United. Shout out if you ever want to sponsor. But I was going to say, I feel like I don't travel as much anymore, maybe, and that's why time feels slower. I don't know, you guys. As for me, I'm currently rocking a dull headache because I just killed an entire bag of Sour Punch bites. Forgot that I snuck in a few, non-child friendly gummies in this bag for a flight I was going on, which is not safe. Because I ate one, I was like, oh man, I didn't need this during the day. But that was a few hours ago, so I'm totally fine. Nothing to see here. And otherwise, I've just been like scrolling, kind of dying. There's this trend going on right now. Sometimes I'm like, do we even like breathe life and talk about these micro trends on this podcast? Because I want this to be slightly evergreen so you can enjoy it tomorrow or in a couple of years if you're binging my back catalog. But when I tell you, like, the news cycle is now, it's so short. It's like nothing ever happens. It's like so much happens that nothing happens. You know what I mean? Because when we think back on 2024, like, I'd asked you guys on Instagram, what was like a memorable micro trend from 2024? Because I think it's an interesting exercise to even see if you can pull anything out of the hat. And some of them I was like, oh yeah, I wouldn't have chosen that, but that did have its moment. Like, remember that cucumber guy on TikTok? I think he made his way to Reels. He had some catchphrase like, sometimes you need to eat a whole cucumber. And it led to an astonishing increase in mandolin-related injuries because people, I don't think, knew how sharp it was, that you just can't like willy-nilly glide your hand over it when the cucumber's getting down to the giblets. That's not the word, the nub. I don't know. But also, read 2024 trends. Like last month, my husband and I had a full conversation about Pookie and didn't realize until like halfway through the conversation, we both were referring to different Pookies that each had their own like viral attachment to 2024, and neither of us had ever heard of each other's Pookie. I was, of course, talking about Pookie and the Jets. Pookie of Jet and Pookie. And he was talking about Pookie, I guess, who's the name of Hawk Tua's boyfriend. Also, ew, get a better algorithm. I was like, why do you know Hawk Tua's boyfriend's name? And he was like, why are you talking about a woman you've never met who you can't really explain to me has done anything specifically other than her husband says her looks are quintessential Pookie? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Each is dumber than the next. But he thinks he is particularly fascinated by people who like come out of nowhere and then find all this success in podcasting and then loves to be like, hey, look what so-and-so's doing with their podcast. And I'm like, okay, buddy, I could only dream of having the journalistic chops of a Hawk Tuah, no point in comparing. But I just thought that was a funny thing where I'm like, wow, there's two Pookies. When I asked you guys for 2024 things, I was kind of like, you know what? These things were all probably such small blips on the radar that they wouldn't even like comprise a full episode. But let's go through some of the highlights of 2024's least important things that happened. I feel like that's really on brand for this show. We're not going to go through the major moments. We're going to talk about American Riviera Orchard. Actually, speaking of American Riviera Orchard, the most hard R's that have ever been in something. Okay, speaking of hard R's, can I just say something really fast? And if she ever sponsors me, I will be deleting this episode. Do you guys ever listen to like Sirius XM or like regular radio and hear ads, like dynamically placed ads for Madison Reed? The founder does the ad reads, and she is the hardest R's I've ever heard. Just sorry, that is so pointless. Madison Reed, like, hold on. I don't know if I should do this because she's not paying me. Well, I can't find it, so you're not going to know what I'm talking about, and that was pretty damn pointless. Madison Reed. Like, she is the hardest R's I've ever heard, and I'm fascinated by the emphasis she places on R's, and I'm curious about her dialect when I hear the ad in passing, and I've never looked it up, nor does it matter, nor will I look it up now, because I can't even believe I brought this up, but in case anybody out there on the airwaves has ever been compelled by those harsh R's on the Madison Reed ads, me too, girl. Anyway, American Riviera Orchard. So you guys know I'm a Meghan Markle apologist. I think she's largely misunderstood. I think she's maligned for anything she does. I think there's a lot of stuff that just has not been fair to her in terms of the public's response. Is she faultless? No. God, no. Am I happy that she was paid upwards of 20 mil to have a team of 28, produce her podcast that only had 12 or 13 episodes that took them years to put out? No. Because I don't care how much you want to defend her and her approach to her craft. It's just not that hard and it's not that serious. And I've been doing this by myself for 7 years, not to pat myself on the back, but also to pat myself on the back. I've made roughly $20-some million less than her. And I've managed to show up to work. It's not always on time. It's not always on the same day. But I'm here, aren't I? So she kind of lost me there, but I will say, the Kate Middleton missing situation, that was like the big thing of Q1 in pop culture that I guess would be worth adding in our 2024 recap. And a lot of us in the commentary world, myself included, Michelle Collins and I talked about it, we kind of jested over it because it was getting to the point where it was getting a little crazy. Like we made shit up from obscurity. We were wondering where she had been, and the Royal family, Kensington Palace, put out a fully photoshopped family portrait. Like, that was a pretty crazy story. It was a pretty bad Photoshop job. And while we were sympathetic toward her, medical situation, it was a bit concerning that we were like, where's Kate been? And then it seemed like somebody in their camp put out this thing. I was always kind of the impression that it would make sense if she was an amateur editor, as am I, on Facetune. As are we all. But like, it was a level of editing of like cobbling together hands and I don't know, that was just kind of excessive for the circumstances. So I think it was fair to be concerned. But the problem is, after all of us had like a little bit of fun with the Kate Middleton is missing story, even though we were empathetic to her plight, there was also a large public shaming toward people like me for engaging and commenting on it. And that was awkward. But at the time, all we knew was this weird edited photo. However, that's besides the point. Eventually, we did hear from Kate. I felt very badly. Obviously, her situation is no laughing matter. It's just for a family whose job is to be public facing and to do appearances, when you're not really covering off your, public messaging and excuses for not fulfilling your, job that is quite literally funded by the public. I think it's fair that people are going to speculate, to conveniently defend myself. Regardless, I think that the timing of American Riviera Orchard announcing the jams that they... So, American Riviera Orchard posted a 9-block grid to Instagram from its official verified handle that now has 602,000 followers. On March 14th, arguably the timing of when like the Kate Middleton conspiracies like hit a fever pitch. I believe it was right after that like blurry photo emerged of her like in the car and people didn't think it was her, but it was before she was spotted at that farmer's market with William, because that was like March 19th or 20th. So like she slid in kind of at like a peak time when there was a lot of speculation going on. And at the time, I was like, oh, it's probably, a coincidence, whatever. Maggie wouldn't do that. But now the fact that they haven't posted anything since March 14th, From what I can tell, this is not like a live business. The website, like the privacy notice even was posted March 14th. There have been no updates since then, nothing on its Instagram. The only thing I've heard is that it was like the trademark was maybe blocked because the American Riviera is like a commonly associated like nickname for the Santa Barbara area, Montecito area. I'm not really sure. It sounds lovely. But I don't even know what it is. I guess a jam company. I guess all I'm saying is in hindsight, that timing is really suspicious. And her not having done anything else, like, did she really need to like insert ARO in that very hectic time where there was a lot of shady speculation going on about Will and Kate? Like, it just seems a little weird. Love Meghan, and I heard her jam would be my jam if I could get my hands on that jam. But I don't think any of us can get the jam because I don't know if it's a real company. But I'd be happy to eat my words and her jam as soon as it comes to fruition. Wow, that really worked too. But yeah, so I guess in hindsight, I'm a little bit disappointed at the timing of that because I don't know what else they've been up to. It just seems like I don't I don't want to be proven wrong about Meghan. I think a lot of what she's experienced is like so heinous and unfounded and unfair. But it is factual that a lot of their ventures, that they've been paid big bucks for, seem to have like one false start after another and don't really seem to like materialize into something. You know what I mean? It seems like they like start and stop a lot of stuff and they go through the churn of their like leadership for Archwell and for like Archwell, their production company, and their foundation seems to be quite high. And I don't know what Megs and Harry are up to, but I did see a blurry, far away shot of their Christmas card that looks adorable. And she has her, I think, little boy and girls, if I remember correctly, in high socks. Now, my question is, do I need to be dressing Teddy in high socks and like a more knee-high sock, like a little lad? He's always in pajamas. Like, I always thought I'd be a person who wanted to like dress my kid in really cute outfits, but it doesn't make any sense. I've told you before and I'll tell you again. It changed everything when it was brought to my attention that a lot of boys' clothing has predators on it. Dinosaurs, sharks, dragons, lions, tigers, bears. And a lot of young little girls' clothing has prey on it. Your bunnies, your kittens, your puppies. Your doves, your baby chicks and non-threatening birds. Which, not to make everything about gender. I would never. I do love to genderize and I love to generalize. However, I just don't like a lot of little boys' clothes. To me, their little boys' clothes come in 3 categories. The predators, like I said, the lions, tigers, and so on and so forth. The like very generic fan of rock and roll where everything has like lightning bolts on it, or it's like an AC/DC shirt. It's what we call baby David Rose. Too much black and white for a baby. And I say that as a lover of the monochromatic. Third one is more of Teddy's aesthetic, which is work your life away just to pay for a timeshare down in Destin. Now, he does dress like a Florida retiree. Oh, a lot of his clothes, yeah, they're a little Tommy Pickles Bahama. Like, I don't know what to do about it. But for winter, we're having trouble getting our groove. And in general, I just want to say that I feel very confused about how cold is too cold to take your kid outside. And I know I could Google that, but like, I don't even trust that because I live in Chicago. Like, this is a cold town. People let their kids sleep, in frigid temperatures in Scandinavia. I need to like, maybe I'll ask in the moms. Don't we have a moms chat on Patreon? I haven't used that in a while. I need to ask you guys how cold is too cold because I feel confused about how cold is too cold. I'm going crazy not being able to stroll. I'm going crazier that it's dark early and I can't stroll in the evening hours after work to like decompress a smidge. And yeah, just in general, I guess I'm telling all of you out there, I don't know how we got from American Riviera Orchard to my son's sartorial crossroads, but thank you for being on this journey with me. What was something else people brought up that was quickly passing in 2024? Oh, the rug in the yard on TikTok. That was an exciting 24 hours, but I think the thing is, even if there was a body in that rug or not, I don't think they were going to tell us or like show us. You know what I mean? I haven't been that interested in something underground since that woman was building that mine under her suburban home without permits. Do you guys remember her? She was wild. Oh, we're gonna miss TikTok so much if it goes away. But yeah, somebody found a rug rolled up in their backyard and then like called the authorities because if you see a rug rolled up underground, what are you gonna think is in there? Probs a body. I don't know why you'd bury a rug unless it was evidence, but I also saw some people say in the comments like, "Oh yeah, my grandpappy always buried rugs, so the gophers wouldn't get between the fences." I'm like, did he? I don't know. I don't know that that's a thing. There's always someone in the comments being like, "Y'all are nuts. This is normal." It's so hard to know if you believe at Bone Crusher 6969. But yeah, that turned out to be a lot of nothing. Oh yeah, Dancing with the Devil, the cult documentary. I ended up not really talking about that on the show, even though I feel like I was not an early adopter, but like I was early to the case in terms of telling people like, "Hey, I think this is a cult." But that cult's super litigious. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but Chrissy Teigen actually had the rights to tell that story. And I don't know what happened, but I guess I'll tell you here on the pod. A bunch of you guys tagged me in her story when she announced she had the rights to it. So then Chrissy reaches out to me. I probably didn't, I don't think, because I think I maybe have said this on Patreon or something because I didn't know like how under wraps it should be, but I guess the project isn't happening. But yeah, you guys tagged me in the comments being like, you have to talk to, at the time it was at Be There in 5. Chrissy DM'd me. And then I had a call with Chrissy's team. She wasn't on the call. And I think that they thought, because you guys are the best and were like crazy tagging me, I think they thought I was going to be like, you remember, Rick Ross, the like cult expert guy that's in all the cult docs, like about NXIVM and stuff. I think they thought I was going to be some sort of like expert for, being early to the story about my suspicions that this group was a cult. And I was like, oh no, see, I'm just a podcaster who, from like a kind of mild evangelical background who saw what a slippery slope a high control group can be. I developed a generalized fascination with high control groups and cults, and I often will correlate them to self-help gurus or other religions, sometimes even MLMs, just because I think they all use very similar tactics. And that paired with my already existing investment in these sisters, who I just used to follow because I like to watch them dance, and they're from Michigan, like two Midwestern queens, paired with my, personal interest in understanding how predatory managers can be in the social media space when people take off and they can essentially use a group of kids as like under the guise of cross-pollination, make them constantly create content together. I have all the deals go through one of them. They have no visibility to them and no normative comparison. So therefore, they think they're making great money, but the reality is they're making a small percentage of a lot better money they could be making, but it's all going to their predatory management using all these youngsters as a content farm. And I think they were like, oh, okay. So what would we put as your title? But I do notice that podcasters are often in documentaries as like commentators or so-called experts. So maybe it would have worked. Regardless, I think it was for the best because I have interest in giving you guys the scoop as a content creator, as a person who's very passionate about my job as both an entertainer and a person who likes to comment and analyze pop culture from a different angle. But what I am not interested in is a litigious cult coming at me because I gave a hot take that might get me from number 76 in the charts to 74. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm just trying to run an honest Christian podcast. I'm not trying to have a cult come after me. But yeah, I am interested to see if Miranda goes home for Christmas. Read the 7M of it all. Melanie got married to a San Diego Charger, right? Or LA Ram. One of those. Nope. He moved to I was about to say their old name. The Commanders. God, is this a sports podcast? And her wedding was like right before, like 2 days before the documentary aired, which is like kind of crazy timing. And I wonder if that was done on purpose. And I've not seen them interact at all ever since. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I promise I'll move on in a second. I'm talking about Dancing with the Devil, the 7M cult documentary on Netflix about a TikTok dance troupe. Miranda and B-Dash are like QVC style selling stuff on TikTok all the time. And honestly, guys, I don't know what's going to happen with TikTok. I feel like it's not going to fully go away like it never does, even when we think it's going to. But I don't know, TikTok Shop's ruined it. Like it is QVC now. It's like, have I bought some stuff off there? Yeah, I have. But have I ever told a soul when I've gotten something off there? No. I'm not going to drop in casual conversation. Oh, I got this from the TikTok shop. No, I'll say I don't remember. That's so embarrassing. Wait, can we go through my purchases on the TikTok shop? Because this is so embarrassing. And so, like, I don't think I've ever gotten something that I thought to myself, wow, I'm really glad I bought that. This added meaningful value to my life. What have I bought? Elastic shoelaces. Bought July 2nd. Still have not put them in my shoes. Wanted to make them more like slip-ons. I am interested in that brand Kizik's, but I haven't pulled the trigger, but they seem like a really great idea, and I was curious if I could like make my own. Their snow boots make the most sense, but they're always sold out. I bought a pair of Holara pants. Not the vibe, you guys, not the vibe. I bought them pretty sure in longs, still too short, and the fabric is like a waffle towel, which when I'm wearing dress pants, I'm not always going for bath linens, but that's just me. I bought one of those hip baby carriers where there's like always videos of these women being like, look at this mom at Disney World really struggling to carry her toddler. I'm going to walk up to her with this baby hip carrier and change her life. You guys, that thing does not work for me. I don't know if I'm not built for it, but like it does not feel secure. It feels like he's going to topple right on off it. I gave it away almost immediately. I've got some makeup brushes, which not bad. I bought an like miniature cleaner to get your wax out of AirPods. So that's kind of gross. I bought a little pick thing that gets hair out of hairbrushes. Am I disgusting? I also bought a karaoke board game I have not played yet. A mold and stain remover I was hopeful would help with my sink for some mysteriously colored grout it did not work. I bought a sleepy tie because so many people seem to have gorgeous cascading waves I've been like watching, I've at this point maybe watched more videos about like heatless curls at this point than I have about top knots, which is saying a lot because like messy bun tutorials used to be my content du jour every single day. Ooh, let me see this messy bun tutorial. It's got to be different and easy to follow, not, completely contingent upon this person's hair length and texture. Landfills are us, you guys. Oh, I bought a dash cam. Haven't installed it. Probably because I don't want to tell my husband I bought a dash cam off the TikTok shop. I did buy my young son a felt Christmas tree, which he has played with, so that doesn't feel entirely wasteful. I'm not proud of this, but I was a victim of, I was getting a lot of ads for something called NeuroGum. And, I've lost gray matter as a mother. I'm always combating brain fog. I'd like to focus. The algorithm figured that out. I was getting endless ads for this gum that improves your energy and focus. And while I usually can sniff out, a Rogan-esque nootropic pitch for like, I don't know if that's certainly something, because almost any unregulated thing I've ever tried to like improve my brain's function has like never really produced dividends. I thought maybe this time would be different, and I can report that this stuff does taste awful and not really work. Maybe it does for some people. It's kind of giving like Nicorette or whatever. Like, I've never been addicted to nicotine. I've smoked a cigarette maybe twice in my life, just really purely for aesthetics. I heard my friend's nicotine gum at one point because I was like, oh, so if people are addicted to cigarettes for a reason, they like the nicotine. So does the gum give you like a little bit so I can see what all the hype's about without like getting addicted? And I chewed it and I just thought it like tasted bad. And this kind of reminded me of that, where it's like, whoa, this gum's like a bit too intense for me. And long story short, I bit off more than I can chew in the TikTok shop in more ways than one. And really, I've bought nothing up there that's of remote value. The Mother God documentary, I forgot it. Was that 2024? I haven't thought about the documentary in a while, but I'd be lying if I said I don't think about colloidal silver pretty regularly. Oh, wow, receipts, timeline, screenshots was this year. I do feel like that had some staying power in the vernacular. Matt Rife getting canceled. I feel like what I remember about his whole saga was like he had a mostly female audience, and then he like went out of his way to like insult women on his special, and it's kind of try to prove himself to other comedians, as if like having an all-female audience is something that like delegitimizes you, and that just is not the move. And yeah, he lost me. Not that he ever really had me. Speaking of people that never really had me, rodent men being hot. Right. Yeah, no. Didn't we do an episode kind of talking about rodent men? With the exception of Remy from Ratatouille, who is a looker. Yeah, rodent men aren't my leading look genre, though in general mine is and always has kind of been like lumber sexual. So until that becomes popular again, Just keep feeling confused when I see photos of a shirtless Smokey Bear. Yeah, I guess it is kind of crazy when you think about Biden dropping out last minute and like the 100 and some days of hope we had. It's fun while it lasted. Yeah, if you told me last year like he was going to insist to run as incumbent, not let anybody else run in the primaries, then dip out semi-last minute and fuck over the Democratic Party and not really give anyone a fair shot at scrambling together a, campaign strategy, much less execute against it in like an incredibly short period of time, I might not have believed you, but I should have, because I feel like I've been disappointed in the Democratic Party for a long time now. Taylor's Grammy acceptance speech. That was 2023 because I was with my sisters-in-law in Orange County on my book tour. That's crazy. And when she announced the Tortured Poets Department, we were like, the what? And for the longest time, it was like, we were like, do we call it the Tortured Poets Department? Tortured Poet? We kept calling it Tortured Poets Society. It was like such a confusing name, and now it's like so second nature. Funny how that works. Kind of like how the song Bejeweled, when the track list got leaked before Midnight's came out, I kept calling it Bedazzled by accident, and then in one unfortunate video, I think I referred to it as Vajazzled, which is a very short-lived period of time in our culture where people were bejeweling their vag areas, hence vajazzle and no, vajewel. Vajazzle? Well, now I'm confused. Let's move on. Oh, Beyonce announced Cowboy Carter at the Super Bowl in a Verizon commercial. Is that true? Oh, yeah, we got to sing. Oh, wow. We got This Ain't Texas Hold'em, and 16 Carriages. That was exciting. Susie and her pesto. Oh, is that the port? Like, yes, bless Susie's heart. Okay, Susie, if you recall, she's like a food influencer, or she does a lot of cooking on TikTok. I remember her because in the pandemic, her like shtick was that she would do like videos and call it Only Pans. And it was like, I think 1 pan dinners a la OnlyFans. And yeah, she made this video and it was like, and she was just saying kind of casually, like colloquially, like, you know how you say things like, call me crazy, but American Riviera Orchard has a few too hard R's for me. You say it like, it's kind of a nothing statement that you don't really mean you're crazy. You just say like, oh, well, this is my personal opinion. I don't know if it's everybody else's. And she said, call me crazy, but I've never really liked store-bought pesto. Now thinking about that, that's really funny. And poor Susie, it started like weeks, if not months, of video stitches where people would be like, that is crazy, Susie. You know what's really fucking crazy? And then they tell like an actually literally crazy story now. And it's a little bit funny. I hope Susie took it in stride. Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. I have not forgotten. I have not forgotten. You guys, the way they systematically all replied on my TikTok video about Victoria saying they didn't come to her birthday party, one by one, the dominoes cascaded in a line. And while they thought that was their mastermind plan, I think it kind of bit them in the ass because they all looked incredibly insensitive. And worse, they were kind of gaslighting her to be like, we know that you're saying that you're hurt, but more importantly, we're hurt that you're publicly saying we hurt you. Somebody said we're praying that she realizes that like this was not the case. You're praying that Victoria realizes that what she's saying happened didn't actually happen. What fucked up planet? It really was kind of made me spiral a bit because it reminded me of a lot of experiences I've had with like nice girls, sweet girls who make you feel like you're doing something wrong for having an opinion, for telling the truth, or for simply sharing your experience, and then it makes you shame spiral for doing what? Nothing, just being honest. But for people that so deeply believe in politeness over honesty and that so desperately want to save face and care about optics above all else, your honesty at their expense is unwelcome and you will be endlessly shamed for it. And I just saw that happening to her and it pissed me off. As I reveal on Patreon at a later date, did Victoria ghost me when we were in New York? Sure, she did. Maybe there's some merit to her being a bit flaky. But listen, I still think that we saw what we saw on the documentary. And we know they weren't very welcoming, kind, or warm to her. And we saw the entire squad show up for like Kelsey's engagement and not a soul for her birthday. And she said it in passing and it wasn't a big deal. And she didn't even really place the blame on them. But I just think that they weren't that close and they didn't see the passing thing as an invite and they thought she was covered off and it was just her and her mom. And it probably disappointed her a bit, and two things can be true. Regardless, what I'm interested in is, so there's a season 2 of that Dallas Cowboys cheerleader documentary coming out. dying to know if it will be included at some point, them all seeing that video during training camp and all choosing to like comment and feel bad for themselves because she just publicly said that she was hurt by them and they weren't like perfectly nice America's Sweetheart girls, which we could have all told you that from watching. Like, again, two things can be true. You can be like a relatively nice person overall, but do something hurtful to someone and their experience can be valid. And it doesn't mean you're a terrible person. It just means you hurt someone's feelings. And they're allowed to tell people that. I get it. They go by America's Sweethearts, not America's token ex best friends, even though they kind of have behavior like that. That was such a weird scenario. And I was just and that was a weird scenario and a reminder of why I don't always stick my nose in the most viral thing at the moment. Anyway, stay tuned. I guess we'll find out next summer. Mooting the Hippo, Harrison Butthead speech, not even going to go to that time of day. Reagan, the breakdancer. I feel like she had her moment in real time, but also a renaissance as a lot of people did dress as her for Halloween. Willy Wonka pop-up. Was that in Glasgow? That was really funny. The Charlie XCX Apple dance. Who the F did I marry? Risa Tisa. Oh, that's right. That was this year. A lot of people said Justin Timberlake, this is going to ruin the tour. The cop replied, what tour? Justin Timberlake said the world tour. I don't know why, but like, you couldn't pay me to be interested in Justin Timberlake news. I'm a Backstreet gal through and through. What am I going to do? I'm looking for a man in finance, trust fund, 6'5" blue eyes. Yeah, I actually feel like that had some staying power. By staying power, I just mean that Julianne Hough did recently dance to a remix of it on the Dancing with the Stars finale. Barrel jeans. Okay, in my corner of the internet, barrel jeans are still going strong. Barrel jeans don't look as crazy on as they do off, I will say. I don't have any. I'm still getting used to not feeling like wide leg jeans look like Jinkos on me, so I'm a little behind. Okay, the other trend that's like everywhere right now that I like feel uncomfortable about most of the time because people do it with their spouse, but it's funny when people do it with their parents and like sisters and friends, is this thing called we listen and we don't judge. Let me play you clips from examples of ones that are like funny and cute versus ones that are like, oh. Like this might be used as evidence in court at a later date. Like this is a cute one with a mom and daughters.
You listen. Do you remember when your blankie went missing for like 3 years? I put it under your mattress.
She's saying, remember when your blankie went missing for 3 years? I hid it under your mattress. And then they say afterwards.
And we don't judge.
We listen and we don't judge.
Really ugly clothes.
There's another sister saying sometimes when you have really ugly clothes that go in your closet and just get rid of them. And they're like, we listen and we don't judge. And I've seen spouses say funny things like, oh, when I told you that the guy was coming to fix that thing, I just haven't called him yet and didn't feel like it. It's like innocuous stuff. Or like, well, this is a cute couple. Let me find one.
Listen and we don't judge. You know when I decorated for that birthday party and I just said the fish should stay on the ceiling? Yeah. It's hiding all. You don't want to know. We listen and we don't judge. You fall asleep with your mouth open and you snore a little bit. And I crush up some tongues and drop them in there.
Wake up in my mouth is super dry.
I'm gonna see the ass of Rachel and stand
I can't imagine waking up and my spouse was pouring some unspecified powder in your mouth. I'd be like, what's going on? And there's like this, which like profoundly bums me out.
And we don't judge. Sometimes I go in the bathroom and hide and pretend to go to the bathroom when I hear the chaos in the house, just so you have to handle it, not me. We listen and we don't judge.
When sometimes I tell you I'm going to get a facial, but I'm really going to get Botox.
I think that's respectable. It's fair. Why does he care?
We listen and we don't judge. Sometimes I pretend to have to fix something downstairs just so I can play video games and have some peace.
All of his are like, I'm lying to not help you with the children.
We listen and we don't judge. Sometimes I go in our bedroom at night and pretend to fold laundry while you're downstairs just so I don't have to help you clean up.
He's the worst.
We listen.
See what I mean? It feels like, for some, it's like funny. For some, it seems like a prerequisite to divorce. Who's to say? But I asked you guys just now on Instagram. Some of you are, we listen and we don't judge, because I was curious what you would say. Well, I did too. I said in general and with pop culture, because I feel like there's no more 2024 thing we could do than see 24 out with the trend we'll never remember, that has no significance in our lives and is largely forgettable. Because I feel like that this year was an amalgam of things that were that in culture. Do you know what I mean? I talked about this on a Kate Lila last year with the loss of like monoculture. It's like the monoculture now is there being a lack of one, and it being like a really highly fragmented, siloed, fast news cycle of 24 to 48 hour passing stories that fit your algorithm that occasionally break through to a mainstream level, but more often don't. You're talking about two different types of pookies. I mean, if I were to have any, that one woman's, when I go to get like injectables or like a laser, something specific at the derm spa, I don't tell my husband that. Like, what is this, my chart? He doesn't need like a play-by-play of my appointments. I just say I'm going to the dermatologist. Is it the tologist? Nah, it's the spa. The derm spa, not the dermatologist. But who cares? I feel like that's my face and my business. And he never complains about my dewy forehead. So case closed. We listen and we don't judge. I think this is kind of, it teeters on hot takes, but what would mine be about, like, that relates to you guys, where I would admit things to you and you would have to not judge me? Okay, I feel like with Christmas time, sometimes I think that people who say gift giving is their love language are actually just a little materialistic. We listen and we don't judge. Don't be mad. I think that gift giving as a love language makes sense for when people are so thoughtful, because gift giving, it's to me, it's like more of it represents something, the gift itself. I appreciate gifts in a sense because if it's something I really like or wanted or brought up, it shows that the person was paying attention, If it's something that is like a surprise and they want to treat me, like, it shows that they want me to feel special and they care. But like, I get that. I think gifts can mean other things, but I have seen examples of people using gifts are my love language as a way to like shame people who don't get them the right gifts. And the gift that they want is like a handbag. And I'm just like, I don't know if that's a love language. Like, I don't know. I have hot takes about gifts in general. Like, do you guys really have adults in your life who are demanding and judging this type of gifts you give them who are not your immediate family members or children? I don't really, yeah. I think it's really nice and generous if you want to do that. I just don't expect a soul who's not in my immediate family, my spouse, to be getting me a gift. I don't feel like we should have to buy gifts for adults once we're adults. Like, I believe in Christmas bonuses. I believe in cards. I mean, if we listen and we don't judge, do I not always open Christmas cards before Christmas and feel really guilty throwing them away? Yeah, I don't save them all. Is that bad? Do you guys save them? I don't know what to do. I have mail and clutter anxiety. I'm admitting too much. Actually, this is something to do with current events. We listen and we don't judge. Drones. Not that worried about them. I don't know. I had bigger fish to fry this week. Specifically, Brianna chicken fry and Grace O'Malley's falling out. Drones? I don't know them. Kind of feel like not in my business. Because A, they're not over my head. I'm not in like New Jersey, but also apparently there were some in Chicago, but there's a lot of lights and planes and things that happen up there that, again, none of my business. To me, it was kind of like, well, the fact that the government said that they know that they're not a threat, but they don't know what they're for. I'm like, well, clearly it's some covert operation or things that they're testing. That probably the civilians noticing the drones is like part of the test. Because if they're saying they're not a threat, that means that they know exactly what they are. So like, I was good with that. But people were like really preoccupied with the drones in ways that I wasn't. I don't know what that says about me, but we listen and we don't judge. When I'm sharing numbers, like, we listen and we don't judge. In my head, the way I perceive numbers, the way I would like report numbers to somebody else, if I'm getting paid, I round up to the nearest 5 or 0, usually the 0. If I'm paying for something if something, I'm expressing what something costs, I always round down. Something under $15 is $10. Something under $65 is like $50. Something that's like under $120 is like $100. You know what I mean? Does anyone else do that? I have inverse Walmart pricing syndrome, where I make things seem a little cheaper than they actually were. Not to be misleading, but just to keep it cash. I don't need to get into it. I may seem like a curmudgeon re gift giving, but I certainly am not when it comes to my nearest and dearest immediate family. Grandparents, the best of friends, near and far, those closest to us. And let's be honest, what people really want for the holidays is to see their favorite people more often. And that's why this year, the best gift you can give, besides, maybe a plane ticket, is an Aura digital picture frame. Named the #1 digital photo frame by Wirecutter, Aura frames are incredibly smart and easy to use, allowing you to upload unlimited photos and videos directly from your phone to the frame. Plus, you can order the frame online and preload it with photos and videos using the Aura app, so it's ready to go right out of the box. Let's say you're going to your parents or your in-laws, you bring in the kids along. It's always very hard for me to leave. And I think it's a nice way to position this to be like, hey, here's an Aura frame. You and us, the kids, have access to this app. We can upload pictures on an ongoing basis that automatically get sent to your frame. They will pop up, and you'll get to see on an ongoing basis what we're up to, what the kids are up to, all the activities, the sports games, anything you feel like you're missing out on. You'll have a real-time lens into without having to be on social media, on Facebook, or like waiting for us to text you a photo. I think it's such a great idea for keeping loved ones in the loop who you maybe don't live close to, or maybe have to spread themselves thin across a lot of different kids or grandkids. When my parents got an Aura frame, we all downloaded the app and we send photos to it, and it shows up on their mantle, on their frame. And it's kind of like a fun surprise. You don't know when you're getting a new photo. It's so easy to set up. It takes like 2 minutes. And there's an interactive touch bar where they can change photos, view details, like photos, and more with a simple tap or swipe. It's like a really fun interactive gift that looks like a real photo print in a photo frame that is loved by the press. It has been selected 3 times as one of Oprah's favorite things, in addition to recommendations by Fast Company, Wall Street Journal, so on and so forth, and yours truly, Kate Kennedy. And you can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames by using promo code BeThereIn5 at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code BeThereIn5. This deal is exclusive to listeners, so get yours now in time for the holidays. Terms and conditions apply. auraframes.com, promo code BeThereIn5. For $35 off. On a recent episode, I talked about Samantha Brown Travel Guide and my love for nice hotels. But what's interesting is I stayed in a nice hotel twice in the past couple of weeks and could not sleep, kind of tossed and turned. And I missed my Helix mattress, you guys. Helix mattresses, like, I'm not blowing smoke. They are that good. They are that comfortable. I have converted everyone in my life. And I hear from so many Beths. Like, I have not found a Beth yet who has like taken up their incredible like warranty and 100-night sleep trial because they like theirs so much. And the Helix Sleep Quiz matches you perfectly with your mattress because it asks you, are you a side sleeper, a back sleeper, or stomach sleeper? It asks if your partner has sleeping preferences. Do you want firm? Do you want soft? Or do you need a big and tall mattress? Do you tend to run hot? I tend to run so hot, and this makes a big difference to me. And I have mattresses that have like a cool topper, so I never get too hot when I'm sinking in. We have a Helix Dusk Luxe. We have a Helix Sunset Luxe. We have 3 of their mattresses in our home. My sister-in-law is currently swapping out her mattresses for Helix because we all go there between Christmas and New Year's to celebrate the Scandinavian tradition of Ramjul, which is the time frame between Christmas and New Year's, which I believe should be a time of rest, relaxation, and family togetherness. I've heard people say that this has helped them with snoring, with back pain, with sleeping through the night, with sleeping too hot. You name it, Helix has got a mattress just for you that make this incredibly high quality mattress that isn't like your average internet mattress company. And I know you don't always need a new mattress in life, but I hope that I've told you enough times that if you're ever considering buying one, Helix is the way to go. You know, as nostalgic as those coils can be in your back when you're at your parents' or in-laws' house or whatever, sleeping on an old mattress, I am always trying to evangelize the life-changing nature of a Helix sleep mattress because there is no sleep like a Helix sleep, because a Helix sleep is sleeping through the night. And if you want to go to helixsleep.com/BeThereIn5, you can get 20% off plus 2 free pillows for all mattress orders. That's helixsleep.com/BeThereIn5 for 20% off plus 2 free pillows for all mattress orders. The pillows are heavenly too. I can't say enough good things. Give yourself the gift of good sleep this holiday season. Order you and yours a Helix mattress. helixsleep.com/BeThereIn5. 20% off plus 2 free pillows for all mattress orders. I took a breather. I'm back. Do you guys feel like I need a matching lip to this velour fit? Also, most of you can't even see me. It's really confusing to have to like optimize this for video when most people don't experience it on video. But if you want to get me something for Christmas, go to YouTube and awkwardly watch me put on a very heavy lip color live on camera that's going to get all over my teeth. Here's the thing. I don't need you to watch this every week. I just need you to subscribe, throw me a bone, because I'm trying to survive in this here business as an independent pot, and advertisers want the option for audio plus video, you know? So you have like clips and stuff, even though like I'm not trying to be a YouTube star. I mean, my 46 views per episode, like it is giving the Paul brothers, but if you want to do me a solid, please go subscribe or let some videos play in the background. Literally don't care. Honestly, let's start some rumors. Go to YouTube, get me some views, and talk in the comments about what you think I've done to my face recently. I didn't have lip filler, but I feel like in between videos, you can see the product of some light injectables. And I don't know. I'm just trying to... I just don't feel like the gossip mill is getting me the exposure I need. Also, I'm kidding. That's kind of my nightmare. Want the views... I want to keep my job, but I'm less like a duck where things roll off my back and more like a camel where I store them for an eternity in the form of a large hump on my back because my posture isn't great, let's be honest. Is that what's in a camel's hump? Water? We listen and we don't judge. I know very little about camels, but I have ridden one before at my circus church. That's too long of a story to get into if you aren't familiar with Be There in 5 lore. Rode a camel and an elephant before I ever rode a horse. I still don't actually think I've ever ridden a horse because of Michelle Tanner's amnesia, but it's possible I have and I just forgot about it. But regardless, not important. Yeah, I've been sitting, waiting, wishing, Jack Johnson style, banana pancakes to get thicker skin. It's been 7 years in this job and it just doesn't happen. And I'm kind of waiting to snap. I feel like at some point I'm going to snap. I kind of want to snap and just stop caring and be like, fuck all y'all. Obviously not you, kind listener, but you know, the people that aren't here, the ones that like are, you know, endlessly being like, your podcast is long, you dumb bitch, which isn't a very mean thing to say. And I wish them, you know, good tidings to them and their kin. Regardless, you guys, we don't need to talk about the haters. I think that's the least interesting form of conversation anybody could be having at any given time because the people that are here aren't the haters that are going to hate. You are the absolute best, loyal listeners who are listening to me admit things that are borderline shameful. Speaking of this thing that I'm holding in front of me, we listen and we don't judge, is something that I find so shameful. I don't think my husband knows I have it. I don't think anybody knows I have this. It is a very tiny device that fits on your finger. And part of my job is staying in the know pop culturally. And I have trouble sleeping. I don't always want to be consuming the blue light of scrolling through like TikTok or Reels or whatever, but I want to like hear what the latest is. I have this little ring that allows me to click and scroll through TikTok, Reels, Instagram, like whatever the hell it is, YouTube. So I can go from video to video, reel to reel, TikTok to TikTok without looking at the screen and just listen on audio while I'm laying in bed. I feel like that is a humiliating level of screen time. But please remember, this is related to my job and not just because I, you know, am dying to, and not just because I need to know the latest Greek yogurt, dill everything bagel mixture, cucumber guy is putting into a to-go container. And sometimes it's fruitful, it's usually not. Every time I pull it out, I shudder because it feels dark to have to scroll so much. You have fatigue from looking at the screen and using your pointer finger. Okay, one thing that came up that I feel like I should get it off my chest, get it off my desk, that I brought up on Instagram a little while ago to people that were not, anytime you bring up a Taylor Swift opinion that's not like 100% positive, there are always what I call perfect Taylor Swift fans, TM. They're the type of people that anytime you say anything, like it's almost like they're bots programmed to immediately DM you. She doesn't owe you anything. What? I just said thought there was a better leading single than Antihero. Even she just said it's supposed to be exhausting always rooting for the antihero. The thing that's exhausting isn't actually even like her. It's like the conversation surrounding her. Because perfect Taylor Swift fans, TM, are so aggressively defensive that you can't even like have fun with it. Because the thing about like celebrities and pop culture and commentary is, like, I know this is crazy. I have to be able to comment on it. And commentary that like just gushes isn't terribly entertaining to me. And it wouldn't be honest because I'm always not gushing. But like I put out last week's episode, that was a full-on gush fest, if not an insufferable cry fest, because the music really does mean a lot to me. But a lot of the charade with the public persona and the PR and the, her relationship and stuff, like a lot of it is like carefully controlled messaging to the public for us to receive. And I think it is interesting to talk about sometimes, especially in the context of what came out today, which was that Travis threw her an Eras themed party. And at first, all of the news outlets, and I know this because what I started doing is paying attention to what the URL says. And then by the time I get to the article, I see if it says updated, and then I look at the URL because the URL doesn't always update. Or when I'm quick to the story, I'll copy and paste the URL because I know they're going to change it. And if like her team doesn't like what was said. And I was trying to figure out what about this made all the outlets like change their story, because I just thought this was odd. So Travis threw Taylor an Eras themed party in Kansas City, like within, the same week and a half period that the Eras tour wrapped, that, her birthday on the 13th. And intuitively, you're kind of like, oh, he threw her a birthday party. But then we were like, oh, he threw her a surprise birthday party. Cute. My commentary in the context of a birthday party was, I'm almost charmed by how quintessentially dude this is. To take something that's a part of your personality or identity and to do something incredibly thoughtful to the point where you could never complain, you could never say anything because it's so sweet. I had a friend group chat about this because we were laughing. And I know not everyone agrees with me, Perfect Taylor Swift fans TM. What I am saying, first of all, is that it's incredibly sweet and thoughtful. And what we want for her and for all of us is the opposite of somebody who tolerates us, right? We want our love to be celebrated. We want to be celebrated. What I love about the situation is what we want for her and what we know to be true, which is she's the best thing at this party. When I first heard that line, "You're losing me," I thought, how insane must it feel to have the fanfare, adoration, obsession, and like anybody in this entire wide world, for the most part, wants, and is to be your best friend, is to celebrate you, is to fawn and be like, your music, everything about you has changed my life. Thank you for all you do. And like, you're dating the one person who gives zero fucks and is ignoring you in a crowded room. I mean, it's kind of crazy making to even think about. Not that she would be like that self-involved, but like, I just think as a human in general, it sucks when you're like, wait, everybody else thinks I'm fun and cool and nice and hip and interesting. Why are you tolerating my existence? So I do love that for her. And it is so clear here. He adores her. He puts so much effort into her feeling celebrated and welcome. To me, this looked like a bigger effort to make her feel at home and like welcome in Kansas City. Like I bet he really wants her to like Kansas City. And I bet he really wants her to like his friends and his crew, because this was a party mostly of his crew. There were the Haim sisters, I think her parents, Donna Kelsey spotting. And then it was like the Mahomes, Travis's other teammates, some wags. Like it seemed to be mostly his friends, which makes sense because they live in Kansas City, and a handful of her friends, but like not all of her besties. And there was a minute where people were trying to argue it was a rap party, but I'm like, on what planet is this a rap party with none of her dancers, none of her crew, none of her band, and like nobody involved with the tour? So I at first thought it was a birthday party, and then people were saying it was a rap party. And I was like, well, that doesn't make sense either. And then like the general consensus became it was a congratulations party about the Eras tour, which again, very sweet. Regardless, my point is, initially the article said it was a birthday party, and then somebody reached out and had like people change it. My question is, was it not a birthday party? Or is there a level of cringe where you don't want people to think that your birthday party was themed after your workplace? You know what I mean? Not saying it's not thoughtful. Her love is celebrated, not tolerated. We are happy for her. But if my husband threw me a big surprise B-Day bash and it was podcasting themed, Wouldn't dare say a thing. I'd make the friendship bracelets, take the moment and taste it. But I'd be like, this is my job. Like, there's other things I like. My leisure is the Eras tour. That's the most exciting thing that I could be doing with my time. But that's literally her job, you know? So I want to go to a Taylor Swift theme party. My question is, does Taylor Swift want to go to a Taylor Swift theme party? Because the custodial cart, for example, such a funny thing and novelty to the fans. It's also like a little box she has to hide in to get from, backstage to front stage for the millisecond she's outside, because fans don't let her do anything without cheering and screaming. And, so she can't even stealthily, get to her spot before the show starts. So she had to figure out a way to basically hide so people wouldn't know it was her. And I'm sure she doesn't love being in a box or hiding in a suitcase, but there we have it. And it looks like she did make it livable and cute, and she put picture frames in it and stuff. But yeah, she's just spent 2 years hiding in a custodial cart box. It's a really cool detail to have that at a party. Is it cool for her? Again, just spent 2 years in that box? I don't know, you guys. I was lolling because we know that people that work the most closely with people's, we know the press, for example, that works super closely with Taylor's team is People magazine. That if it's in People, it's on the record, it's reliable. It was planted or directly sent in by somebody. And People, the URL I first saved was, let me tell you, it was one of the first things. It was about her outfit. It was people.com/Taylor-Swift-in-4290-$dollar-dress for -35th birthday, Kansas City. And now it's 4290 dollar dress for Era's party, Kansas City. They updated it at 12:17 p.m. EST. And I think it was a USA Today that changed it. I saw, was it Entertainment Tonight? I saw several sources change it from birthday, Era's themed birthday bash, Era's themed surprise party, Era's themed surprise birthday party, to Era's themed party, Era's party. Congratulations on the Eras Tour party. Somebody somewhere went out of their way to have them issue a correction to make sure people knew it wasn't a birthday party. And I just think that's interesting, because if we're not worried about the theme or the optics, why do we care if people think it's a birthday party or not? You know what I mean? Why are we issuing a correction for that? I just find that confusing, because I actually think the weirder thing is to make it look like a wrap party and then to not invite anybody from the cast, crew, dancers, band, etc. So I almost think it would make sense if they corrected wrap party to generalized party or birthday party or whatever. But for some reason, they were very intent on not wanting this to seem like her birthday party. And I think it's proving my point that people disagreed with, which is, I don't think that she wants the optics. I don't think she wants it to look like Taylor Swift, threw a party. Hey, come to this party dressed as me, Taylor Swift, because that would be weird. And I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. I think I just see it in her face. Somebody DM me saying, people are just miserable and want Taylor to be miserable. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All I'm saying is you can see it in her face that I don't think he played his ace. I think that it was incredibly thoughtful, but I personally believe that after 2 years living and breathing that set, those things, those bits, those vignettes, I don't think they were a novelty to her in a way that she would be stoked to toss on a willow cape on the dance floor. I'm just saying. And I think there's something about it being that theme, which is why there was a correction issued across the board to anybody that said it was a birthday bash. Maybe I'm misreading the situation. Regardless, I had a group chat going because we were kind of laughing. We were like, this is so incredibly sweet, because he went out of his way to figure out all these details. I'm sure he had a party planner, but get the custodial card and the willow capes and the friendship bracelets and all the details. It kind of reminds me of the period of time where my siblings and I found out my dad likes Sudoku. And so for Christmas, his birthday, everything, all three of us, and my mom, all got him Sudoku related gifts, because there was something about him that we knew he liked and we were excited to get it for him. So we went too hard and projected it onto his entire personality, because when somebody can get themselves whenever they want, they're kind of hard to buy gifts for. I think men are notoriously hard to buy gifts for in general. And whenever I can like find a little something that I think will like really delight them, I go for it. Or like actually last year's Christmas episode, Kelly and I recorded Barefoot Dreams Contessa. Didn't somebody write in and say like, when I was 9, I liked Harry Potter. And for the past 12 years, my aunt has only gotten me Harry Potter gifts. Like, I think there's a funny thing that can happen in kind of a different context where there's something somebody knows about your personality and then they just like kind of run with it in terms of making like everything about that one thing, even though there are like other things you like and participate in. And then it's a nice gesture. So it's almost too weird to say like, I have other hobbies and interests. You don't have to do this for me, which I know that's different with like your significant other, but actually, no, it's not. Because I do that too. There was one year Greg was like really into this show Forged in Fire where they were literally making knives out of like raw iron. Is raw iron a thing? Wrought iron? I don't know. So I literally took him to like a knife forging class. I think he was just watching a show in passing on like A&E. I don't think he was wanting to commit himself to a life of forging. And my God, that class was terrifying and a giant safety hazard. So that was my initial reaction is LOL. There are other things she likes. He probably loves the Eras Tour. So proud of her about the Eras Tour. The Eras Tour has so much hype. He went a handful of times. He worked his ass off to meticulously like recreate the Eras Tour, and it's probably so fun for like him and all of his friends. But, you know, if it was her birthday party, Taylor Swift going to a Taylor Swift themed birthday party, you know, somebody attending a work themed birthday party is like really funny and probably not going to hit the way you hoped it would. But if it was a congratulations on the end of the Eras Tour party, obviously it makes sense. Anyway, so that was my initial like question mark when I thought it was a birthday party. If it was an Eras wrap party or like an Eras congratulations party, that makes sense. I mean, it's a huge professional accomplishment. I'm just saying I felt like I could see it in her face that she was a bit like about even receiving the 22 hat. Also, somebody submitted on Instagram, which made me laugh. We listen and we don't judge. Rude that the only people that got the 22 hat were children. Hilarious. But like, wouldn't it be a little embarrassing as an adult to be like, oh my God, like at the front of the stage, giving her a hug, like crying? I don't know. I feel like even though I would be doing that in my head, I feel like my instinct in that moment wouldn't be as like pure. I would be like way too aware of being on film and wanting to like slip her my number and be like, text me, girl. I think kids are probably the way to go for that. To us, it would be like a cool bragging, right? But to a kid, it's like a core memory in a deeper way. So I am going to disagree with you on that one, but I love that submission because that is bold. That is bold. Also, I was refreshed to see that like, because I always am so confused. Like I'm wearing a dark lip now and I'm deeply self-conscious. I should see, I don't look at myself in the camera while I'm recording or else I'd get too distracted. Let me find myself. Where am I? Where am I? I'm very paranoid about having lipstick on my teeth because a bold lip it's so hard to not touch your face. You're drinking out of a straw or a cup. It's so hard to like not look crazy or jokery. And hers, like when she's singing for hours and hours straight, like never budges. And it didn't come out like her specific MAC color. And that MAC lipstick I have in other colors. It's not that like long wear, never budge. Regardless, yeah, I'm always so amazed that her lipstick stays. And I'm almost refreshed when I see photos of her out and about. And she does have a bit of a jokery mouth. She does have a bit of a fruit punch. You know what I mean? A Kool-Aid mouth smear. It's relatable. It's important. If anybody's going to kiss their partner, drink multiple drinks, you know, nuzzle someone somewhere, you're going to get a light smear. And she did have some light smearing in these photos, and it did delight me. My other question is for somebody like Taylor Swift, surprise parties are so special and meaningful because they like allow people to get like recognized, and it allows them to see people in their life and to feel special and so on and so forth. Does somebody like Taylor Swift, whose entire life is recognition and fanfare, I wonder if she likes that style of party. You know what I mean? I am constantly wondering how her and Travis's personalities mesh, because I can see how he might be the thing she didn't know she needed. If she tends to be more introverted and reclusive and like, you know, poetic, he knows how to ball, she knows Aristotle, that whole thing. If she skews that way, and she previously dated, you know, people who were so blue, or some of her lyrics, feel a little bit of a HIPAA violation. How much sad did you think I had? I mean, you sacrificed us to the gods of your bluest days. Tough stuff. I think the role of blue in the trajectory of her last relationship in songs is so interesting because it started with like, oh, damn, never seen that color blue. Ocean blue eyes looking in mine. Deep blue, you painted me golden. I mean, even though Dancing with Her Hands Tied, I just, yeah, it does not strike me as a Joe song, but like, let's say if it is. And isn't there like blue jeans in your Nikes? Look at you. We have like blue reminds me of the color that we painted your brother's wall. But right before that, she says, I'm with you even if it makes me blue. And I remember being like, well, that's an interesting thing to say. And of course, we get to Lover. My heart's been borrowed and yours has been blue. We're so sad we paint the town blue. I'm with you even if it makes me blue. Like I said, I blew things out of proportion. Now you're blue. But then it's like, well, Time Wonders Time gave you the blues, then purple pink skies. And I was like, thank God, some purple pink out of all this blue. But we know from Peace, if your Cascade Ocean wave blues come, our partner has a tendency for cascades of waves of blue to come. And in Hoax, it's like, don't want no other shade of blue but you. And then, then I think when they broke up and got back together, he looked at her with Honor and Truth broken in blue. So she called off the troops. Fresh Out the Slammer, gray and blue, and fights in tunnels. So Long London, you sacrificed us to the gods of your bluest days. I don't know, guys. I was taking inventory of these blue lyrics the other day, and I was like, damn. I feel like there's just a lot of hints about his mental health here that we could have inferred from a lot. Like, obviously we want art to be honest. We want lyrics to be honest. But, like, she just has made it so abundantly clear his mental health issues. And if it wasn't already abundantly clear through the song Renegade, that I think was like maybe too harsh to put out on her own. So she did it through her collab with Dessner, Big Red Machine. Is it insensitive for me to say, get your shit together so I can love you? Is it really your anxiety that stops you from giving me everything? Or do you just not want to? Which I actually think the lyrics of Renegade are fire. Like it is it's a really well articulated example of an experience of loving somebody who does struggle with mental health issues and it's just like not very popular or sensitive or seemingly empathetic to be like, this is fucking frustrating. Are you really going to talk about timing in times like these? Let all your damage me? Like if I would have known how sharp the pieces you'd crumbled into, I might have let them lay. Anyways, I just think that it's like a lot of the blue references. It's like, holy, yeah. My heart, my HIPAA, my body, my love. I feel like I know too much about his mental health history and it makes me uncomfortable and I hope he's doing okay. We all have our stuff. And I say that as a fellow person who's the person in my relationship whose ocean blue waves, cascading ocean blue waves come. And yeah, that's why I feel like I can never give anybody peace. Now I'm kind of like, oh, I wonder, that's kind of like sad if she felt like she could never give him peace and was really thinking through all the things she can give him. But ultimately, like, I don't know if he could give himself peace. And that was a big part of it that she shouldn't have blamed herself for. But a man that does know peace, Travis Kelce. A man who thought it was Alice in Wonderland, Allison, for the majority of his life, knows peace. And I guess to get back to my point is I wonder if he's what she didn't know she needed. I don't know why. I don't even need to be doing analytics about their relationship right now. This is not that important. But what was my point? Oh, sometimes I wonder because he's like a famous guy who's a dude who, yes, is very recognizable, but probably still like can do stuff around Kansas City. And not having a person with such an aggressive quest for privacy all the time, I wonder if sometimes she feels weird being like, hey, I can't just like have a surprise party. Like I have to kind of be in control of like where I'm going and what I'm doing and who's there and how it's documented and how you know what I mean? Like everything she does is so heavily scrutinized from the way she looks to the photos and videos and footage that's taken. She probably to feel comfortable, to be able to have fun, needs a level of control and where she's going and who's in attendance and beyond. And while I'm sure her team and security and everything thinks of that, like he has all these buddies from his team and they have all their wives and like, I'm sure he's like, come on, they're my buddies. You can trust them type thing. You know what I mean? And she like wants to be cool, but like that would be a little bit hard for me just to like welcome everybody in somebody's broader circle with open arms when because I've been burned, because I'm under such a microscope, like have to really keep my circle tight. And it's not to be unwelcoming or that I don't like your friends. It's that I do have to protect myself. And so sometimes when I see her out and about with like a ton of his like KC folks, I just always wonder how that works. And if she feels like a bitch being like, hey, sorry, you can't post that, because like it would suck to want to be able to have fun, but to feel like really weird if people were taking photos and videos. Anyway, but yeah, ultimately I am going to guess that he wants to lock this down. He wants her to really love Kansas City, wants her to love his friends and their spouses. And I'm sure she does. I'm sure she had a great time. It looked like she had a great time. All I'm saying is that I don't think that I would feel. All I'm saying is that if I was at a party with a bunch of podcasting mics and my like, be there in 5 thumbnail blown up and like all of my like, podcast guests were in attendance, you know what I mean? I'd be like, cool. Like, thank you. This is really exciting. But what I'd probably like more is, I don't know, Y2K themed party. You know what I mean? Well, like, I guess wanting a millennial is work too. But I guess if it was about work, that does make sense. And I get it. I don't mean to be a curmudge. Moving on. Okay, here's some stuff you guys submitted to. We listen and we don't judge. Sometimes I just throw away the whole Tupperware container instead of cleaning it. Oh, I do that all the time. Yeah. At a point, it feels like a to-go container where it's like, yes, multi-use plastic, but when it starts to be stained, I'm out. Chili sits a little too long in a Tupperware. Nah, I'm with you there. Oh, I've definitely done this. Sometimes I get fast food on the way home from work and say I'm not hungry because I had a late lunch. Yeah. Oh, I literally order God knows what, Wingstop, Wendy's. I have Lisa Barlow's palate. If Lisa Barlow was a toddler, that's my palate these days. Especially post having a kid, and especially since kids kid food is so delicious to me. I just feel like all of my culinary pursuits have gone out the window, and it's just speed, ease is the name of the game, and it's not great probably for my cholesterol. Also, I don't know what the fuck my cholesterol is. I haven't checked that in a long time. Got to do that. Sometimes when I'm WFH, I email my team that I have a migraine. When I don't, so I can nap. I support that. Honestly, I feel like the man doesn't give us what we deserve, and I support a little time thievery. Sometimes I just walk away and don't pay for water and snacks at Hudson News. I could never. Oh my God, that's straight up shoplifting. Sorry, I'm listening, but I'm judging a little. One of my listen and we don't judge earlier that I thought you guys were going to judge me for is if I have if my carry-ons runneth over and I have 2, my carry-on and my personal item, if they runneth over and I really need a third thing, or I need to be able to carry my purse and not nesting doll it in one of my 2 bags, I go to Hudson News. I buy some gum. Actually, that's a lie. At the airport, I almost exclusively buy Mentos, but I do not eat Mentos anywhere else besides the airport. I will buy some fruit Mentos, to be clear, and get a Hudson News bag. And then I'll put my purse in the Hudson News bag. And then it looks like my third carry-on is duty-free, and then they don't stop me. Hot tip. That was my am I a criminal? But I've never intentionally shoplifted. You're wild. I didn't walk at graduation due to anxiety and acted like people just must have missed me passing by. So people that went to your graduation were like, oh, you must have missed it. They called my name. And then so they feel bad, but you just skipped it. That's funny. I used to pick all the cookie dough out of the ice cream and put it back in the family freezer. There's no way people didn't notice that. I still sleep with my childhood blanket. I'm 40. Oh, I do too. I still sleep with my blankie. Honestly, I think that I came forward to the public that I still sleep with a blankie when Rachel Parcell so bravely told a story of, what's her blankie's name? It's Margaret or something. Wait, Courtney would know because we loved that she told this story. Let me ask. Is it? LOL. This is the stuff I text Courtney and she won't even flinch. What is the name of Rachel Parcell's blankie? We'll see if she responds. I'm 43 and still on my parents' cell phone plan. See, I don't think there's anything shameful or weird. I wanted to create a master spreadsheet for Kelly and I wanted to share every Hulu, Netflix, Peacock. If it were up to me, I'd share a cell phone. I'd share everything. Especially if you are single, I think that the world is unfairly catered toward couples, toward two incomes, toward families, toward family plans. And while as a person who benefits from family plans, I really do appreciate those benefits, I don't think that there should be any sort of like penalty or inability to have a plan be subsidized just because you're one person. I think that's really unfucking fair. And I think you should do whatever you need to if you want to save a buck. Sometimes my fiance gives you the ick. Well, girly, I don't know. I feel like that maybe listen to that. I have a long commute home and sometimes they stop and get me a milkshake, but not my husband. Ladies, this is not something worth confessing to. We listen and we don't judge. This is what's wrong. That we're conditioned to think that getting a delightful confection or treat for ourselves and not our spouse is something that like we would need to confess anonymously and be like, don't judge me. I don't judge you for getting yourself a delightful treat. You're talking to Wagyu you. I mean, treat yourself 2025 and beyond. I love that for you. And please don't feel like this is something that needs to be whispered to a stranger on the internet. Shout it from the rooftops. You deserve that milkshake. And unless your husband explicitly asks for one, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you want to bring it as a kind treat, as a thoughtful gesture, sure. But I don't think you by any means are required to get one, especially because by nature of the shake, it's going to melt. So really you're doing him a favor. I set out my husband's socks every morning, not because of love, because I can't stomach seeing his toes. Oh, Lord. Sometimes I just rinse stuff off rather than washing it, i.e. a knife that cut fruit. Oh, yeah. Is that? Okay, basically what's happening here is I'm learning that I should maybe be more embarrassed of some of my behavior because I'm like, I feel like that's just good business. It touched something, you rinse it. Do you have to, whatever. I'm with you on that. It's like, it's not going to like sit out and fester and get ants. I'm probably going to use the knife in like 2 seconds again. It doesn't need to go through the dishwasher. If anything, I'm saving the planet. Anon, please. I did a sneak peek gender test and didn't tell my husband. Wow. So you're going to wait till it comes out next. Here's the thing. No one's going to overthink the way you're acting when you eject a baby from you. So you're probably going to be able to pull it off. Even if my husband wanted it to be a surprise, I might have tried to let it be a surprise for him. I don't think I could have ever, I'm amazed that people can do that, and I think it's fun for them, but I had to know. I had to be able to envision it, I leave my old contacts in my bed. Okay, I'm new to daily contacts, and I do find this to be a conundrum of like, oh God, I gotta take my contacts out. What I need to get is a miniature car trash can to keep bedside that I can just flick my contacts into, because I have been finding contacts in weird spots when I don't even remember taking them out because I think I'm so tired. Sometimes I buy Pop-Tarts and hide them from my husband. Guys, eat the Pop-Tarts. Get the milkshake. Take the moment and taste it. You've got no reason to be afraid. I'm glad you're telling me these things, and I hope I'm validating you that you deserve to treat yourself. Oh, this person sent me a lot and then said this is oddly freeing. If I have to get up early, sometimes I sleep in the clothes I'm going to wear in the morning. Oh, 100%. I do that if my flight's before 7 o'clock. I have a box of clothes in my car I've been needing to take to the thrift for 10 months. Was this me asleep sending these to myself? Because I do all of these things. I don't clean behind my fridge and never will. It's not my business what's back there. Yeah, I'm a renter, so I don't even know how to get back there. I don't even know how to move the fridge. What do you think? I have a dolly? That's an insane thing to expect me to have. Am I supposed to clean behind the fridge? I don't know. Let me know. I judge people that smell like fabric softener. It's gross. I don't even know what you mean. Would I notice? I sometimes bury my fast food trash so my husband doesn't judge me. I know. I'm laughing. The thing is, I do that too. I currently am harboring candy snacks in my office because I don't care what form it comes in. Powder, packet, liquid, stick it, pull it to the side and get all up in it. If it's radioactive orange cheese, I'm on board. I want in, and I will have some of it in my office in some format. Currently, it's handy snacks. What's interesting about handy snacks, you guys, is that when we grew up, they did have a red stick that allowed us to spread it on the cracker like ladies. We were given a sophisticated charcuterie-like experience with our handy snacks. Now, literally, these kids are having to raw dog it with handy snacks and use their hands to eat the snacks and dip a cracker in cheese. And the cheese is the width of the cracker, making it incredibly hard to spread on said cracker. I just really respect an ingredient list that in plain sight high fructose corn syrup. They know it's not popular. Yeah, they still go for it. And I'm still buying. Anyways, your move, Nabisco. That's some bullshit cost cutting if you ask me. If we're going to buy your HFCS and still support you even though we know better, you can at least give the children a sophisticated spreader so they can get a proper ratio of cheese to cracker. Because if you're anything like me, whether it's a Lunchable or a handy snack, you stress about getting the adequate amount of sauce or cheese on the allotted crackers you were given. I do it now with the United Tapas box. Oh my God, don't get me started. They got rid of the spreadable cheese. Are you ready for this? In the Tapas box. It's not okay. In fact, as a platinum member, it's making me consider, do I start to go Delta? I'm just kidding. I could never. I live in Chicago. It's a United town. I'm powerless. But truly, to have a Tapas box without a cheese product and double down on the sweaty-ass pepperoni salami situation that I gobble on up in the skies no matter how sweaty it gets, and think to myself, if I get food poisoning, this is the culprit. I'm horrified. I'm horrified. And I want to ask you, nay, beg of you to reconsider that if you want to give us a Mediterranean-like tapas experience in the sky, I just think you need to listen to me as a woman. Women are owner proprietors. We are small plates. Small plates are us. We invented them. I know we're talking Spanish tapas here, not to, make their culture my costume, but I know a thing or two about tiny bites and light snacks, and I do not know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing with a cracker and a sweaty piece of salami pepperoni with no cheese in the skies. It feels cruel. My legroom's already minimal. You already got rid of the Toblerone bar. Haven't we suffered enough? Ugh, wow, I really just took Nabisco and United to task. Will they survive? Their stock's probably plummeting as we speak. This person says, I love you, but 1.5 to 2.5 hour podcast I don't have time for. And I love you, but I don't care. I'm sorry. Guys, good for you, not for me. Say it after me. Maybe I am about to snap, you guys, given the topics today. Sometimes I hear myself talk and I think, is there a masterclass about podcasting? Because 7 years in, I should not be the one to lead it. I think it's maybe a time I learned something about my own industry and the things people actually want to hear me talk about, other than this nonsense. But regardless, masterclass is so much fun. I'm having so much fun with it, you guys. It's where you or your loved ones can learn from the best to be their best. Think about, I'm obsessed with so many celebrities, and this is where celebs, best in the business, people at the top of their field will host classes, and they're full on curriculums and multi-lesson classes to learn something that's the expertise of somebody you might look up to or who is an expert in their field that you can learn from. Whether you're crafting a stand-up set with Judd Apatow or turning passion into achievements with cultural icon Martha Stewart, overcoming improv fears with Amy Poehler. You can learn to cook with Gordon Ramsay. You can learn photography with Annie Leibovitz. And this isn't them phoning it in. This is them sitting down and actually giving their advice, expertise, best practices, and tangible, actionable insight into their field. And it's really fascinating. And I'm a person that I read mostly nonfiction. I always want to be learning something. And sometimes it's hard for me to figure out what books to get into where I can learn something. And this is kind of taken place of my reading for leisure, where I can pick something kind of module related and take it on and feel like I've learned a new skill and maybe even come back to the podcast and you guys can benefit from the fruits of my labor. The American Riviera Jam of my labor. It's the only streaming platform where you can learn and grow with over 200 plus of the world's best. That's why Wirecutter calls it an invaluable gift. It's the gift of unlimited learning, especially if you're listening to this episode and we are down to the wire. You do not have time for something that needs to be shipped to come in. And there is somebody who's inquisitive, likes to learn, wants to get into more hobbies, has a lot of celebrities or people they're a fan of that they might want to learn from. Giving the gift of masterclass just makes too much sense. It's instantaneous and it's super easy to do. So one, it's a gift that's always on time, but two, it's a gift that lasts a lifetime. You can't do better than Masterclass. And if you don't believe me, 88% of members feel that Masterclass has made a positive impact on their lives. And I'm having fun with it. I think you would have fun with it. I think you and yours, your loved ones would have fun with it. I'm having fun with it. I think you would too. More importantly, I'm actually learning things. I'm supposed to be talking about it in the context of a gift when it's a gift I gave myself, but it also is a great gift to give, especially considering if you're running a little behind and something can't get shipped to you. And yeah, give your loved ones a year of learning. Masterclass always has great offers during the holidays. holidays, sometimes up to as much as 50% off, head over to masterclass.com/BeThereIn5 for the current offer. That's up to 50% off at masterclass.com/BeThereIn5. Masterclass.com/BeThereIn5. The holiday season has its own special style. Light up your look with Pair Eyewear's merriest collection yet. Whether it's Christmas, whether it's New Year's, whether it's just like end-of-year festivities, switch up your look and slay in style with Pair's customizable glasses and holiday-themed top frames. We've got snowy scenes that will last you all winter. We've got classic plaids that will carry you further into winter beyond the holidays as well. We've also got your favorite festive hues if you just want last-minute topper or pair for your partridge in a pear tree moments. The possibilities start at just $60, including your prescription. I'll ultimately be leading to that you can save 15% with code BTIF at paireyewear.com, but let me tell you a little bit more. So this company was on Shark Tank, and it's so brilliant because if you wear prescription eyeglasses, you understand the struggle. Imagine having one pair of glasses. For that pair of glasses, you can snap on and off different colored frames to match your outfit and match your look. And not only that, you can snap on and on sun toppers to turn your regular prescription eyeglasses into sunglasses. You can snap on and off blue light glasses if you're working on a computer. You can basically mix and match for style and function with one pair of eyeglasses that, again, start at just $60, and top frame snap on and off starting at just $25. And that way, I only travel with one pair of eyeglasses, and when I'm on a plane, I don't want to wear contacts. I just snap on the sun topper, snap it off when I can finally put my window down. Lord knows, I hate when people keep the shades up mid-flight. But if they do and I can't do anything about it, at least I got my toppers. And even though a lot of you guys said last year that you thought my glasses made me look like Sally Jesse Raphael, I wear that with pride, and I switched my black ones to red ones recently for the season. My favorite style is the Murphy. I also have the Reese and the Kirby. The Murphy's the biggest, most fashion-y one that I think a lot of you would love. And I think this is especially so fun for kids, especially if you have a youngster like me who was nearsighted at a young age and feeling a little bit weird about, the old four eyes of it all. If I could have traded up my frames and not doubled down on this one tortoise pair I saw at the Costco. I mean, they have everything from Disney to Disney princesses to Marvel to Barbie, every sports team you can imagine. It's perfect for kids who want to rep something and kind of wear their pride and identity with glasses, but for adults that want to be festive as well. There's free standard shipping, a flexible 30-day return policy. So if you want to get matching pairs for the family, stuff a stocking, or gift a pair to yourself, save 15% with code BTIF at paireyewear.com. And support the show by mentioning Be There in 5 in your post-checkout survey. That's 15% off at paireyewear.com with code BTIF. You might have noticed I seldom go over 2 hours anymore because I don't want to waste your life. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just don't know on what planet we're bitching about the portions being too large. In a world of, small plates where we're taking cheese spreads from people and being stingy about our red plastic sticks. God forbid we put more plastic in a plastic container with high fructose corn syrup and radioactive cheese in it, as if that was the problem. Yeah, more like Nabisco low. Pretty low move, Nabisco. God, nailed it. I'm losing my voice again. I'm getting heated. I think in a world of small plates and stinginess, my podcast is family style. Eat what you want and finish the rest later. If you don't like it, put it in Tupperware. And if it grows stale and starts to stain the Tupperware, throw it away and never come back. I get it. I'm kind of annoying. I don't know if I'm a fan of myself sometimes. I think that I just want to give people more. So if they want it, they can take it on. But if you want less, just consume less. And I just can't understand the complaining about the length. And listen, as I'm saying this, am I realizing that I am completely... This is the antithesis of the exercise, and I'm completely ruining this because the point is we listen and we don't judge. And I don't know what I'm doing here. We listen and we don't budge. I am being very inflexible about your fearless feedback regarding my podcast. Sometimes I'm not in the mood. Sometimes I'm not in the mood. Blame Nabisco. Blame United. Blame this bold lip at an early hour and me talking to myself when I'm really just avoiding the reality of very shortly having to get on an airplane with my toddler and I'm feeling anxious about it. I don't know, you guys. All I'm saying is you can DM me, you can email me, you can call me, you can text me, you can write it in a letter, you can send a fucking carrier pigeon and tell me to be less, tell me to talk less, tell me to shut the fuck up. I never will. I will be in your ears, I will be on your airwaves, and I will pester you till the end of time just because you told me not to. Oh, wow. Am I about to snap? Fun for the holidays. My gift to you. Have you guys been waiting? It's been 7 years. It's about time. We listen and we don't budge. Okay, let's move on. Oh, the other thing I would have thought about covering this week, I love Pinterest Predicts because it tells us what trends are going to be hot in the next year, and it makes me laugh. See next year's trends now. Cherry coated. Cute. Tasting notes. Dark, sweet, and such a vibe. Gen Z and millennials will infuse cherries into their makeup, menus, and mood boards this year. One thing's for sure, Tarte will have your heart in 2025. I do feel like a lot of people are doing Tarte juices to sleep. And I do love anything with like infused with a Michigan cherry. Maybe Northern Michigan will finally get the credit it deserves for the tropical paradise it is, because they do grow a lot of cherries. But cute. Okay, so dark cherry's one of them. That makes sense. Aura Beauty. 2025 will be the year of the makeup mood ring. Gen Z and boomers are driving this high hue look that's all about honing in on a color aesthetic and flaunting it from chin to cheek. Find your aura, wear it with confidence, and consider yourself dipped in vibes all day long. Okay, this is a whole lot of nothing. I'm sorry. I love nothing more than like gratuitous, unnecessary, redundant makeup tutorials, full glam. Like, I'll watch them till the end of time. I love them. Overpainting, underpainting. Like, I'm on board. I've been doing this for a decade and I like this category and it doesn't really bother me. But lately, but I think the micro trends surrounding makeup that really have nothing to do with technique or like the craft or like the application or makeup artistry irritate me. And just branding it silly like cinnamon cookie butter makeup, I'm like, what is this? It's just like, get some brown eyeshadow, kids. That does make me roll my eyes a little because I'm probably jealous and it gets engagement. And I'm like, God, why didn't I think of that? Cinnamon cookie butter? Do I need to be branding something as eats all the cookie dough and puts the ice cream back in the freezer? Makeup? Maybe. But aura makeup reminds me kind of like high contrast or low contrast makeup. Have you guys seen that trend? People are like, oh God, yeah, her makeup's not serving because it's like she has a high contrast face and she needs more high contrast makeup and she's doing low. And I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know. I don't know. It's a journey each day to even like accept my features as they are. I just told you to look at YouTube to see if you can tell what I injected into my face. Confidence is a journey. I don't need to be judged as me not doing my makeup in accordance with my aura. What is my aura? Also, that's not fixed. That's ever changing. And also, speaking of auras, it will always be very sweet that when I was pregnant, I went to an influencer event, LOL, that of course this would be at an influencer event, and I was pregnant and they told me my baby's aura was so strong that they couldn't read mine. So I don't even know what mine is. But Teddy's aura was that he was going to be like, what did they tell me? That he was going to be very calm, which is true, but very clingy, which is actually not that true. He's not that clingy to me. Like, He goes through phases of like stranger danger and being attached to me, but I don't know if he's like clingy. And that he'd be calm and have like all the attributes of my husband that I love. But that I think they told me he'd be more chatty, which is funny because I'm definitely more chatty than him. And I'm like, what an interesting thing to say if you like know nothing about me. And I wonder if Teddy will override me at parties, which is a very exciting prospect because we're only as chatty as the chattiest person in the room because I become very quiet if somebody's chattier than me. You know what I mean? What I am wondering, though, is if this more so means people are going to get more into brightly colored makeup than neutrals. Because I will say, for my Willow look at the most recent Track 5, I wanted to like match my cape. I was like an evergreen green that almost teetered on blue. I asked my makeup artist, Nina, to match that to my eyes. And she did kind of like a full matte brightly colored eye that wasn't just in the crease or whatever, and I like loved it. I was like, whoa, this is awesome. And it's a look, it's a commitment, it's something so different than I usually do, and I was really into it. I wonder if maybe that's kind of more so what they mean. Also, side note about the person that read my aura at the influencer event, they asked me if I'd had if I'd been pregnant before in June, which like is technically true, and I like my ectopic, my loss was in June. And then she like told me about that baby's aura, which I was like, girly girl, bold move to read the aura of a lost baby that would not maybe go over well with everybody. I think I saw, if her intentions were pure and she told me the baby would be like a wild child. And I don't know. It was very odd. And I wasn't offended. Honestly, anything to like get to know that person more is very sweet. But if it had been more recent or raw, I don't think that would have gone over well. So if any Aura readers are out there, maybe, skip the pregnancy losses in terms of reading Aura's gone by. Rococo Revival. 2025 prediction, all frills, no chill. This year, weddings and parties and aesthetics will draw inspiration from the Rococo era, a late Baroque period that was both opulent and ultra-feminine. Gen Z and boomers are driving this trend toward Gen Z and boomers. We're millennials. We hate a corset. Are you kidding me? Gen Z and boomers are driving this trend toward classic corset gowns, luxe accessories, and ornate tablescapes. Yeah, I don't think, like, I do like a flattering corset sometimes, and I love like a House of CB corset dress, but I do feel like I listened to Kate's facial expressions in Titanic and thought corsets seem cruel. And that I carried that with me. You're not going to find me in something that is excessively painful for the sake of like defining my figure. We've been through enough. But cute. It looks a little bit Marie Antoinette to me, if I'm being honest. Sea witchery. It's like Ursula core. This is hilarious. POV, you're in your sea witch era. Is this serious? And it's so much more than seashells and starfish. In 2025, Gen Z and millennials will dive headfirst into sultry siren makeup, wet wavy hair, and moody mermaid manicures from sunup to moonlight. First of all, I love Pinterest. This is no offense to Pinterest. They're just reporting the data they're seeing. So what they're doing is they're reporting on search terms. And they saw a 40% increase in witch outfits aesthetic, a 695% increase in dark siren makeup, which I will say is reassuring to me more so than office siren, because I never liked that. 90% increase in dark mermaid makeup, and 80% increase in wavy wet hair look. Honestly, it's a cute look. It's very like pearly, very Ursula core. Yeah, I'm not going to close my clam to a sea witch. I'm open. I wonder if like evangelicals will be more open to sea witches than they are to like general witches, because that didn't really go over well. But I feel like sea witchery might seem less threatening to them, given I assume my powers would mostly be of aquatic nature and pretty limited to what I could do with them. I guess that would compete with, the big guy if I can walk on water or part it like Moses. But in general, I'm on board with Sea Witch because I like the colors. It's very opalescent. It's very like instead of orbs, we live in a clam house with a giant pearl. It's chic. I'm into it. The next one is Surreal Soirees. Okay, this is like a Sutton's party in Beverly Hills. Curvy candlesticks, fantastical flowers, and gravity-defying centerpieces. In 2025, people will infuse their tablescapes and decor with modern surrealism. Gen X and boomers are driving out of this world party trend, as is Sutton Strack. They've seen a 40% increase in Salvador Dali aesthetic. But okay, what I'm wondering is, I want to drill down in this data a bit more, because I'm like, are people searching this after Sutton's party? Or is there a general, like, I always wonder how much pop culture influences these things. Like, because if you see a Sutton pop in search, it probably often has an origin, or if this is like over time. Because trending search terms, Salvador Dali aesthetic, modern surrealism, strawberry centerpiece ideas, cake bouquet flowers, interesting. Oh my God, castlecore. Castlecore, you guys? This person looks like a knight wearing denim in a Mad Max desert with a candelabra. I think I love it. Males, females, I don't care who you are, where you're from. We're chain males now. Get out your armor. Find your nearest sword. I'm doubling down on castlecore. 50% increase in search terms like antique ruby ring, blue medieval dress, castle house plans. Honestly, I kind of think millennials need to just own our McMansion ways. And that's kind of the castle house plan of it all. Wow, this person's wearing a castlecore cuff around their blue jeans with very arguably sea witchy shoes. What a confusing combination of trends. What is this, Brittany Mahomes at the Eras party mixing eras? Interesting. I mean, there's so many. One is dolled up. People will turn their entire lives into a tiny, mighty dollhouse. I could see this happening. Didn't Lena Dunham get the rights to the Polly Pocket movie? I don't think it'll have the power of the Barbie movie. I entertained a one in a millennial cover that was Polly Pocket adjacent, but it was going to be a Polly Pocket that was, each room was like an era of my life, and it was like, if you looked closely, it would be like a nightstand and like a pill bottle and a magazine that had a horrible messaging on it, and like a WWJD bracelet, and it wouldn't have worked because you can't assume everyone's gonna, come up close and give it a good gaze. It needs to just look cool from far away. But the point was kind of like from far away, it would seem like a cutesy, well-meaning Polly Pocket, but up close, it was like deeper and darker, and which is kind of how the book reads too. I think people go into it thinking it's like a nostalgia bonanza and are confused when I'm like, yeah, so I think it's fucked up that people dangle your salvation over young girls' heads to keep them virgins. It's like, hits you in chapter 4 and you're like, wait, I thought I was going to talk about the mall. But life isn't that breezy, so I was not going to write a book about mine that was. Fisherman aesthetic. Okay. Castle core. Fisherman. Meet the effortlessly cool town fisherman. Like the town troubadour, but town fisherman. My parents' town has like a town fisherman. I'm into this. In 2025, Gen Z and Gen X, again, millennials left out of fisherman aesthetic. We're left out of a lot of this. We'll embrace a laid-back maritime attitude and bring a sea la vie take to everything, even if the ocean is nowhere in sight. God, I love a landlocked fisherman. That is so chic. Sandals, raincoat aesthetic, sardine tattoo. Yeah, I feel like sardine core is driving this. That's interesting. Oh, people wearing more netting. Okay. Goddess complex. Oh, there's a lot of trends. We don't have time to go through all of them. Rebel floats. The sweet taste of nostalgia. Gen Z and millennials will give old school soda pop a radical makeover. That's where we come in. Yeah, I feel like we're all questioning our relationships to alcohol, so we probably are getting more on board with like dirty sodas. I love the idea of like a soda fountain soda counter. Would I wear a leather jacket there? I'm not sure, but maybe. Regardless, this is like fun. If you want to look up the predictions for 2025, just look up Pinterest predicts. It's cute and aesthetic, but it's also data backed and really interesting. And a lot of this stuff comes true year over year. And I always love looking at this. Ooh, Moto, I can get on board with that. Oh man, there's so much we could go over here. Why did I waste so much time on handy snacks? Anyway, you guys, I feel like this was kind of a curmudgeon-y, negative, grinchy podcast to go out of the year on, but this is where I'm at today. I think I just feel like I can be authentic when I'm wearing velour. Crushed velvet. Crushed velvet makes me think of my dream leotards when I was a young gymnast, aspiring to be one of the Magnificent Seven. At the Richmond Olympiad, walking into gymnastics class, they had this like gorgeous array of crushed velvet leotards. And I remember they were $45. And I was like, my mom would never. But I did get one for my birthday that was purple and white polka dot. And it was my most prized possession. I had never since like velvet gives me the tingles. It's random. But to come full circle, maybe gifts aren't an invalid love language. Maybe gifts or parties that are themed of ourselves or our workplaces, or whatever we choose to give those we love this holiday season. Really, it all comes down to paying attention and knowing somebody and knowing what they like. And that's always an incredibly special thing. And based on what we've learned today, what you guys like is consumer packaged goods, snacks, fast food, and little treats at late hours. And I suggest that you don't feel the need to hide. But if you don't want to answer questions, I also understand that too. So I listen and I don't judge. But where I won't listen and I won't budge is you feeling bad about it. You know what I mean? Live your truth. I just think there's got to be like god-awful stuff we're ingesting all the time. Like, I don't know. What's up with microplastics? To end on a positive note, I just think that's probably worse than like a Wendy's chicken nugget. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? Anyway, guys, I got to take my toddler on a plane. Wish me luck. Thank you guys in all seriousness, even though I almost snapped, but I didn't. In my raspy voice, I like cannot get my voice back to normal. Isn't that weird? Do I have nodes? Do you think Caroline and I talking about musicals and having nodes and vocal rasping chic during our Wicked episode, it was, I manifested it in a bad way? Who knows? Who knows? I am so grateful that you're here. This is my dream job. We're in the process of securing advertisers for the next calendar year. And every time we do that and get like a half year partnership, I'm just like thanking my lucky GD stars that I can keep doing this independently, without a network. And I know that probably doesn't make sense to like a person that's not in this industry, but like really, it's a lot harder for us to monetize and get support, and we have to kind of go out there and constantly be selling ourselves and vouching for ourselves, which is hard to do when like people haven't heard of you and you're not like at the top of the top. And I mean, Courtney specifically has worked her ass off, and my God, I'm so grateful for her, and shout out to Courtney for helping me keep this show alive for as long as she has. Unless you're a part of a big network where, if somebody says this podcast is brought to you by blank, or you see there's a little thing on their thumbnail that they're a part of blank studio. I've chosen not to do that. I want to always be able to be honest with you. I want to control the advertisers I partner with and not talk about things I don't believe in. I don't want to advertise for diet bullshit or gimmicky stuff or snake oil that a network buys for me and that I have to comply with. Or, if somebody's political beliefs or otherwise I don't align with, I feel weird, joining when I don't know if somebody could sell it off to somebody, or I don't know. This podcast is me. I am it. And I am so deeply concerned with what I associate with at all times. And I just wanted to reflect my values. And I, maybe to my own detriment, have chosen to keep it independent. And your support really genuinely matters. And I am excited to report that I think we have enough funding to go another year. So that's really exciting for us. Shout out to Courtney. She's the absolute best. I hope you'll stay even if it's too long. So yeah, there's fun things to come for me, maybe not for you, but I just wanted to report on from a business standpoint that we'll still be back in 2025. And I'd say better than ever, but I don't always believe in self-improving. I think we're great as we are. So I guess I'll say we'll be back and as Beth as ever next year. Hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season. Never forget you're the best thing at this party. Never forget the best table is the one you're sitting at. I'm hoping to do some Patreon stuff with Kelly or with my sister-in-laws over Rum Jewel. Sisters-in-law, rather. We'll see. And I have a mom Patreon I'm working on as well. So yeah, you'll probably hear from me before the end of the year if you're on patreon.com/BeThereIn5. But regardless, support our advertisers. If you want to give me something for Christmas, even though I railed on gifts as a love language, just go on YouTube, watch a few vids, subscribe if you can, rate and review 5 stars, iTunes, Spotify, or otherwise. Other than that, you being here is enough. You coming back is enough. I love you guys. Happy holidays. Happiest New Year. Looking forward to what next year brings for us all. And I'll be there in 2025. As always, breaking news. This is very important. Courtney Heath did just text me back. Rachel Parcells' childhood blankie's name is Marsha. All right, guys. Happy holidays. As always, let me know your thoughts and I'll let you know mine. I'll be there in 5, I swear.